Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Chapter 31 Miracles. The air in the room suddenly froze, as if a needle could be heard falling on the ground, it was so quiet. Ubuyashiki Kagaya, who was sitting in front of Heiyuming, stared at the boy in front of him who looked much smaller than him. His eyes were full of astonishment. If it wasn't that there was something wrong with his head just now, Mr. Heiyu really said that he has the ability to give him eternal life. Is what you said true? In case there was a problem with his ears and he misheard, Ubuyashiki Kagaya asked again tremblingly. Well, it's true, not only can you obtain eternal life, but you can also obtain power beyond human beings. Heiyuming was like a devil, with a smile on his mouth, seducing the lord who was not long in front of him. For him, the benefits of converting Ubuyashiki Kagaya into his own ghost are far greater than the cost-effectiveness of waiting for Ubuyashiki Kagaya to become the new leader of the ghost-killing team after Ubuyashiki Kagaya's death. First of all, if he is allowed to be the leader of the ghost-killing team, this kind of every move will affect the life and death of the members of the ghost-killing team, and he feels very uncomfortable about establishing the lives of others under his orders. I like it, so it is a burden for him to be a bigger part of the leader of the ghost-killing squad. However, if Ubuyashiki Kagaya is transformed into one's own ghost, it is equivalent to indirectly controlling the ghost-killing team, and has an existence that only enjoys rights but walks outside of obligations, which is equivalent to the emperor of the ghost-killing team. This identity is quite acceptable to Heiyuming. What's more, Ubuyashiki Kagaya also has many cute little lowly daughters. If he dies, these cute little sisters will be sad. Ubuyashiki Kagaya on the opposite side, after thinking for a while, seemed to have made a decision, and solemnly said to Heiyuming. If Black Feather-kun can make my broken body last until I kill Kibutsuji Muzan and fulfill our family's destiny, then I am willing to dedicate everything to Black Feather-kun. Hearing this sentence, the corners of Heiyuming's mouth slightly raised. Good. Compared with the harmonious conversation inside the house, the pillars outside the house who were kneeling on the ground waiting for Ubuyashiki Kagaya to appear were even more nervous, each of them holding their weapons tightly, as if they would instantly panic if they heard any disturbance in the house. Break in. For them, Ubuyashiki Kagaya is not only the leader, but also their benefactor. No matter who it is, they all admire him from the bottom of their hearts. If something happened to Ubuyashiki Kagaya in front of them, they would definitely have no shame in continuing to live. Of course, Tomioka Giyu and Nezuko seemed a lot more relaxed than the rest of the pillars who looked nervous. I saw Tomioka Giyu holding a long cat's tail grass, dangling in front of Nezuko, who looked like I was super fierce, like teasing a kitten. Looking at the quiet room, Tomioka Giyu didn't feel any worry in his heart. He still knew Heiyuming's character. Although he had a bad personality and liked to play tricks on people, he never disappointed him once in business. I just don't know why Heiyuming has such a bad personality, but his cousin is so innocent and cute. At this time, the sound of footsteps from inside the house attracted everyone's attention, and everyone clenched the knife in their hands with a bit of a bad expression. Because there were two footsteps coming from the house, and at this time, no one in the house except Heiyuming should be able to move around, and Ubuyashiki Kagaya's curse has deprived him of his ability to move. As the footsteps gradually stopped at the door, everyone's expressions became more and more unnatural. Even Himehime Kume, who had the strongest concentration, had a few drops of cold sweat on his forehead. Even Tomioka Giyu finally stopped what he was doing, and looked towards the door in shock. Heiyuming, what kind of fool did he do again? What happened in the house? After everyone guessed countless possibilities in their hearts, the door of the room finally opened. However, the scene in front of them completely shocked them. I saw Ubuyashiki Kagaya, who had been diagnosed as unable to walk, stood with Heiyuming with a refreshed face. The markings on the face caused by the curse disappeared even more at this time. Such a huge change made Zumin at the door so shocked that even his mouth dropped. It turns out that there are really miracles in this world. What the hell happened in the house? Chapter 32. At the door, Ubuyashiki Kagaya came out slowly behind Heiyuming, with a smile on his face, and the fluttering long clothes seemed to have a dusty atmosphere at this time. Seeing the changes in Ubuyashiki Kagaya, everyone was very surprised, and they could all clearly notice that Ubuyashiki Kagaya's state was much better than before. You must know that before entering, it was just a dying patient who was almost blind and almost lost the mobility of his lower body, but now he was able to move around freely, which is simply unbelievable. Could it be that Hae-Yuming did something? As if aware of everyone's doubts, Ubuyashiki Kagaya smiled and said to everyone, "Just now, Mr. Kuroba gave me a little treatment, and now I feel that my body is much better. Not only is it much better, if it weren't for the large number of people now, he would have asked his wife to move 2 bricks for him to chop to vent his vigorous strength. Heiu-kun is worthy of being recommended by Giyu. Whether it is sword skills, medical skills or even psychological aspects, I feel great admiration. Now I completely believe why Giyu will call Heiu-kun the hope of the new era." Quote. Open black lens bracket ding. The host's current favorability with Ubuyashiki Kagaya has been upgraded to friendship between monarch and minister. After realizing that Hae-Yuming does not want to be the new leader for the time being, Ubuyashiki Kagaya felt a little regretful but did not insist. But since Hae-Yuming will become his lord after Kibutsuji Muzan is killed, Ubuyashiki Kagaya naturally wants to create momentum for him in the ghost-killing team first. Therefore, during the period of time when Kibutsuji Muzan was killed, Hae-Yuming's prestige must be recognized in the ghost-killing team, and this is indeed what the current Hae-Yuming needs most. Sure enough, Ubuyashiki Kagaya can become the leader of the ghost-killing team, relying not only on his own extremely high charisma, but also on this monster-like EQ. Sure enough, after listening to Ubuyashiki Kagaya's words, all the pillars looked at Hae-Yuming with gratitude and a sense of astonishment in their eyes. Unexpectedly, such a young person can have so many achievements in so many aspects. I am afraid that this person started to practice in the womb. But even being surprised by Hae-Yuming's ability didn't affect everyone's approval of his behavior this time. Almost instantly, Hae-Yuming's mind was like swiping the screen, and a large series of information instantly filled his mind. Open black lens bracket ding. The favorability between the current host and Kocho Shinobu has been increased to trust. Open black lens bracket ding. The favorability between the current host and Himehime Kume has been increased to trust. Open black lens bracket ding. The favorability between the current host and Kanroji Mitsuri has been increased to secret love. Open black lens bracket ding. The favorability between the current host and Shinazugawa Sanemi has been increased to trust. There seems to be some strange favorability mixed in the middle. But watching Kanroji Mitsuri look at him at this time, his eyes have completely turned into a heart shape. How can Hae-Yuming not know what happened? But what surprised him was that Shinazugawa Sanemi's favorability for him had directly increased to trust. Sure enough, this guy is very resistant to beatings, and he will continue if he has a chance next time. Thinking of this, Hae-Yuming glanced at Shinazugawa Sanemi, who was half kneeling on the ground, with a devilish smile on his lips. In an instant, Shinazugawa Sanemi, who had a big bag almost as big as his head on his head, seemed to be targeted by a poisonous snake, and a coldness that penetrated into the marrow of his bones instantly spread throughout his body. "Hey, what's the matter, do you have a cold?" Shinazugawa Sanemi, who didn't notice Hae-Yuming's harmonious eyes, thought something strange. But at this moment, Ubuyashiki Kagaya also clapped his hands to attract everyone's attention again. The pillar meeting has officially begun. Okay everyone, although today is a happy event, the world is undergoing the biggest change in history. Just got the news that Kibutsuji Muzan seems to have almost obtained the path to immortality, and now he is turning powerful ordinary people into ghosts, and now we have completely lost the news of Kibutsuji Muzan's location. In other words, we have completely lost control of the current situation. Chapter 33. The expressions of the people around all changed drastically after hearing Ubuyashiki Kagaya's words. At first they thought that the situation would become extremely bad, but they never imagined that in just a few days, the trace of Kibutsuji Muzan has been lost again, and what's worse is that he actually started to attack ordinary people action. No matter how you think about it, this is not a good thing, and it is even more terrifying that Kibutsuji Muzan may have found a way to immortality. But upon hearing this speculation, Hae-Yuming couldn't help but drip cold sweat on his forehead. No matter how you think about it, this news seems to be related to him. During the turmoil this time, I also noticed that the combat power among us, except Juju, was extremely fragile in front of ghosts. This is very bad. Therefore, I decided to further increase the intensity of training. strengthen, advance the selection of the ghost-killing team to next month, and increase the training intensity of the ghost-killing team members. Speaking of this, the rest of the pillars couldn't help but nodded. What Ubuyashiki Kagaya said is indeed true. The main combat power of the current ghost-killing team is basically supported by a few pillars. Once something happens to the pillars, the combat effectiveness of the demon-killing team will be greatly damaged. But before talking about this matter, I must introduce to you this Kuroba-kun and his cousin Nezuko, who you should all know. Now, Kuroba-kun has seriously injured Kibutsuji Muzan and killed 6 offsprings at the same time. Great military exploits. Even if he is named a pillar, it is more than enough, and Nezuko is the only existence transformed from a ghost by Kuroba-kun into a human being, and after being transformed into a human, he still retains the fighting power of a ghost. I suspect that Kibutsuji Muzan's recent changes are the same as Nezuko related. After Ubuyashiki Kagaya revealed the identities of Heiyuming and Nezuko, the eyes of everyone present at them changed instantly. Leaving aside that Nezuko is Heiyuming transformed from a ghost into a human being, Heiyuming's record alone has made all of them's eyes pop out of fear. In their original impression, Heiyuming is a miracle doctor who can help Ubuyashiki Kagaya recover. As for Ubuyashiki Kagaya's extraordinary swordsmanship, it is more like an absurd praise. However, the image of Heiyuming in their minds has completely changed now. This doctor was able to kill 6 of them at the same time. This is simply an unbelievable achievement. You must know that even the strongest Himehime Kume can only be confident that he can get away from the simultaneous attack of 6 players at the same time, and he doesn't even have to think about killing. The record of almost killing Kibutsuji Muzan is even more astonishing. Although they have not had direct contact with Kibutsuji Muzan, they still have a deep understanding of the horror of winding. And Kibutsuji Muzan's combat power is definitely above the upper string, which means that the young guy in front of him actually has a combat power far exceeding that of the upper string. It's so scary. Thinking of this, everyone looked at Heiyuming with a lot of awe instantly. Ah, Heiu-kun is really strong and handsome. Well, my cousin is the best. Nezuko and Kanroji Mitsuri, 2 little fans of Heiyuming, did not know when they had already gathered together, staring at Heiyuming leaning against the tree with eyes full of admiration. Mr. Heiu still has a hidden identity, and I won't tell you for the time being, but it is obviously inappropriate for Sheni to commit himself to Mr. Heiu's current strength. Regarding the news that Heiyuming is the son of God, he can't tell everyone yet, for fear of causing unnecessary reactions. Speaking of this, Ubuyashiki Kagaya paused for a while to observe the reactions of the lower poles. Sure enough, everyone was shocked by Heiyuming's terrifying record, and then he smiled and said his decision. So when we were talking in the room just now, we decided to give Mr. Heiu the status of a special lecturer with a level higher than that of Zu, and he will be responsible for the promotion training of Zu after he returns from Zujianton. Do you have any opinions? If they want to completely have majesty in the demon-killing team, contact with the pillars is obviously inevitable, and now that Kibutsuji Muzan's position has not been found, the best way for them is to raise their fighting power to the highest level. Only at the best level can we respond to all changes with the same. And letting Heiyuming train the pillars is also the most likely way to let the pillars train their stripes. By then, the combat effectiveness of the ghost-killing team will definitely usher in a peak again. Although Kibutsuji Muzan now targets those with power, casualties caused by ghosts are minimal now that all the old ghosts have been brought back. This situation is like the calm before the storm. Once the balance breaks, the short-term balance will disappear completely, and the ghost-killing team may usher in their true fate. Chapter 34. Seeing Kanroji Mitsuri looking at Heiyuming with a look of admiration, Iguro Obanai, who was half kneeling beside her, curled his lips and cut his lips in dissatisfaction. This scene was naturally seen by Heiyuming, who was leaning against the tree. As expected, this smoldering kid had some special thoughts about Kanroji Mitsuri. But now that he has attracted all of Kanroji Mitsuri's attention as soon as he appears, it's no wonder that this kid is very fond of it. Thinking of Iguro Obanai's childlike character in the animation, this guy will never be in his position before he learns his lesson. Sure enough, right after Ubuyashiki Kagaya finished speaking, Iguro Obanai immediately expressed his dissatisfaction with Heiyuming being their teacher. I don't agree. He agrees with Heiyuming's strength and superb medical skills, but if he wants to be their teacher just like that, he will not accept the order given by the Lord himself. Anything. Right, It doesn't matter, it's just to confirm whether he has this strength. Unless he can beat me, I won't be like him, Iguro Obanai said to Haeyuming with a dissatisfied face. After hearing Iguro Obanai's words, Himehime Kyume and Rengoku Kyujiro looked at each other with a gleam of interest, smiled and raised their hands to express their reconsideration of Haeyuming's proposal. I offended little friend Haeyuming, but the poor monk really wanted to experience for himself the power to defeat Kibutsuji Muzan. Ha 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 ha. Yes, a man should have a fight before our relationship can become more trustworthy. Seeing that Himehime Kyume and Rengoku Kyujiro chose to fight Haeyuming, Shinazugawa Sanemi's eyes were shaken. Why, isn't a bag on your head enough? Seemingly seeing through what Shinazugawa Sanemi was thinking, Haeyuming suddenly appeared beside Shinazugawa Sanemi at some point and whispered into his ear. I saw Shinazugawa Sanemi as if being stared at by a poisonous snake, and a chill pierced his body again. This feeling of being stared at by a beast made his skin crawl all over. Only then did he finally know. I wonder where the source of the chill that came to my heart when the meeting between the pillars came from. Feeling the almost terrifying pressure, Shinazugawa Sanemi only felt that the big bag on his head became more and more painful, and the experience of being hit by Haeyuming's punch resurfaced in front of him again. Thinking of the almost terrifying strength, his hands gradually softened down. Sure enough, this kind of brat just wanted to be beaten up, so he would be obedient if he was beaten up. Anyone else want to challenge me? As Haeyuming's eyes slowly swept across the crowd, no one raised their hands anymore. Haeyuming nodded in satisfaction. To Haeyuming's surprise, Uzui Tengen unexpectedly did not challenge him. Don't you want to challenge me? Haeyuming asked curiously. Uzui Tengen, who was called, was a little surprised, and then said indifferently, I'm not like that kid, but I already have a wife who is as beautiful as a flower, and you can see you can analyze your strength in battles. Why should I fight with you? This is not gorgeous at all. Hearing Uzui Tengen's nonchalant answer, Haeyuming's forehead burst out with veins on the spot. Good guy, I almost missed this winner in life. No, I can't afford him so cheaply. No, how can strength without personal experience be used as experience in future battles? Come and join me. After hearing Uzui Tengen's description, Haeyuming immediately pulled Uzui Tengen up from the ground with a kind face and a force he couldn't resist. Then why don't you care about Kocho Shinobu and Kanroji Mitsuri and Tomioka Giyu? Uzui Tengen, who was forced to open his business, immediately reported to Haeyuming the melon eaters. Nice weather today. Hey, you bastard listens to people. What? Then you guys go to bed together. Aw, you nasty guy, I must smash your corpse into thousands of pieces in a gorgeous way. Chapter 35. I'm sorry, Mr. Kuroba, is what I understand what you said. Himehime Kyume said in disbelief after seeing Haeyuming look confidently at the words they said together. At the same time, his hands were clasped together and his eyes were filled with tears again. Big tears kept sliding down his face. No wonder Himehime Kyume is dubbed a column of tears, and this terrifying water output is indeed well deserved. Well, it's true that you all want to go up together, or do you still want to challenge me one by one? I don't have that leisure time. After hearing Himehime Kyume's question, Haeyuming made his own answer as a matter of course. For the four people in front of him who wanted to challenge him, it wasn't that he looked down on them, but that they, who hadn't awakened their stripes, might not be able to beat him even if they fought together. Now Haeyuming's judgment of his own combat power, even if it does not exceed the top one, is probably almost the same. Moreover, he still has unlimited room to become stronger. If he learns all the breathing, he will definitely be able to wind up the string. He can't beat him with one hand. By the way, if I beat you, you should stop approaching Kanroji Mitsuri with ill intentions. With Haeyuming casually mentioning Kanroji Mitsuri in the direction of Iguro Obanai seemingly inadvertently, the atmosphere on the court instantly became dignified. Hey, why did Iguro-kun approach me with malicious intentions? But, Kuroba-kun said my name, so happy. I saw Kanroji Mitsuri, who was eating melon happily, was stunned suddenly when Haeyuming mentioned it, and then realized that this was the first time Haeyuming called her name, and his face was covered with a shy blush again. What nonsense are you bastard? I'm going to kill you. Seeing that his little thoughts were exposed by Haeyuming in public, Iguro Obanai immediately revealed an angry look on his face, and drew out his Nichiren sword to announce the beginning of this battle. Little friend Heiu, how offended you are. Seeing Iguro Obanai's action, Himahima Kume glanced at the other two and took out his weapon to attack He Yuming. The breath of the snake, the shape of the venomous fangs of the narrow head. Iguro Obanai, who took the lead to resist He Yuming's side, decisively used his breath sword skill and instantly circled behind He Yuming. The two curved Nichiren blades were like two snakes winding forward. Aiming at He Yuming's neck, he opened his terrifying fangs. And the three who came from behind also cooperated with Iguro Obanai's surprise attack to attack He Yuming from the front. Breath of Rock 1 Shape Serpentine Bipolar. Breath of Flame 1 Shape Shiranui. Breath of Sound 1 Shape Boom. I saw Himahima Kume quickly throwing his meteor hammer and broad axe to attack He Yuming in the opposite direction. The hurricane created by the huge weapon was one with incomparable destructive power, accompanied by Rengoku Kyujiro. Like a flame burst with such momentum, he launched a slash beyond the speed of sound in the direction of He Yuming at high speed. And Uzui Tengen's double swords slashed at the same time and instantly caused an explosion on the ground where He Yuming was. Seeing the endless power of the four attacks that came towards him quickly, He Yuming's face did not show any fluctuations, and even the corners of his mouth curled up into a smile. Breath of Blood type of 3 Blood God Armor. I saw countless tiny blood shots seep out of He Yuming's body in an instant, covering his body in an instant, but in the blink of an eye, a pair of ferocious armor with a dazzling luster like rubies appeared on his body in an instant, wrapped He Yuming's whole body in the defense range. Then let's start with you. Looking at Iguro Obanai's eerily curved Nichiren blades that was about to appear on his neck, He Yuming's eyes flashed a dangerous gleam. Call out. Boom. He Yuming seemed to have disappeared in place in an instant, leaving only the cracked ground that was stepped on by a foot. Where is this guy? Watching the enemy in front of him disappear in an instant, Iguro Obanai's eyes instantly became astonished. The news in his mind kept sending dangerous messages to him, but it was too late. Everything seemed to happen in an instant. He Yuming had already turned around and appeared behind Iguro Obanai. With his right hand clenched into a fist, he punched Iguro Obanai hard at the back. Boom. Hearing a loud noise, Iguro Obanai was already embedded in the wall by He Yuming's punch like a mural on the wall. Iguro Obanai, pawn. However, although one person was eliminated, the attacks of the remaining three pillars have blocked all He Yuming's escape routes. In an instant, like setting off fireworks, colorful attacks struck He Yuming in an instant. Boom. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.